I've forgotten everything. Hello all and welcome back to my channel, Drunk Crafts with Paige. I am Paige and this week I am drinking a concoction of my own making that is fresh apple cider, Sprite, and vodka. Actually a lot more vodka than I intended. A lot more vodka than I intended. And this week, we are once again not in my basement because there is still construction happening down there. However, we have moved from my kitchen to my bedroom. So we are going to be crafting up here today. And this week, we have dabbled with alcohol inks before, putting it in resin. However, we have not just done straight up alcohol ink art. And so, for those of you who didn't know, you need special paper for alcohol inks so it doesn't absorb into the paper and you can get it to move around and look all cool. So I purchased some of that paper. It's called Dura-Bright White. That specifically says I can use it for alcohol inks. And we're gonna cut it up into different shapes and lengths, and we're gonna make some fall themed bookmarks. So if you would like to see how those turn out this week, then please stick around. Alright, I have all of my alcohol inks laid out for me so I can grab them as we go. And I cut down my paper into bookmark shaped pieces. We've got 3 long ones, 3 that are a little bit shorter, and 1 that is a little bit shorter than that. So we've got a nice variety of sizes. I also have my isopropyl alcohol. It is 91%. I have heard that 70 and 80% do not work for this. For the alcohol ink art, you want as close to 90 and above as possible. So I have my alcohol. I also have a tiny little plastic pipette to place the alcohol down. You could always get like a little nice bottle to put it in if you would like. I don't have one of those, so we're gonna go with the plastic pipette. I also have a straw and my heat gun available to kind of move the alcohol ink around. We'll see which method I prefer. And I also grabbed a paintbrush because I have a couple of different ideas that I would like to test out. And finally, my gloves. You could, I guess, technically do this without any gloves. However, alcohol ink stains, and even when you think you're being clean, you're not being as clean as you think you are. I've ended up with green colored fingers for weeks on accident. So let's just start. Let's do one of the long ones. And from what I understand is you really can't go wrong with alcohol inks. If you want more color, add more alcohol, or more of the ink. If you want it to disperse a little more, or you want to dilute it, add more of the alcohol. So we're just gonna kind of wing it. I will do my best to explain what I am doing. Like I said at the beginning, I would like to do some seasonal bookmarks. So first, obviously, we have to go with the fall colors. We'll roll with, all of my alcohol inks are from Resin, except for my 2 metallics, which are from Jim Holtz, or maybe it's Tim Holtz. It's written in cursive, so it's kind of hard to read it, but I have 2 metallics from them, and the rest of mine are all from Resin. So we're gonna grab red, orange, yellow, and the gold. And let's start out with the orange. A couple of drops of that. A little bit of alcohol. And let's try the straw first. Ugh. So because we're doing stuff with alcohol, the actual alcohol that we applied is going to evaporate relatively quickly. I believe it's going to evaporate quickly if we use the heat gun. So let's give that a shot. So that assumption was correct. I actually think between the straw and the heat gun, the straw you can use to manipulate the colors much more specifically. However, you can do a pretty decent job of controlling where the colors are going with the heat gun. So I think I'm going to use that, and as the heat gun is blowing the alcohol inks around, it's drying it at the same time. It's helping the alcohol evaporate. So I think I like that better, and we'll probably start using that. But I'm going to add a little bit of red as well. And once again, use the heat gun to move it around. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to see these really hard edges, I want them to kind of blend a little bit more, so I'm going to put more alcohol down and try to blend them out. There, see, now they're not so harsh. And now we've got to add the gold. We've got to add some gold in here. You can't have fall colors without the gold. So let's try to put down some yellow. And some gold. Throw on more alcohol and move it around. Wow, that gold evaporated really quickly. I ended up kind of losing some color a bit there, so I'm going to throw down some orange. Move that around. The end looks really beautiful. And I would like to kind of keep the middle blank. I'd like to draw something on all of these, maybe not all of them, on some of these bookmarks. So now the other end. We're going to try to do similar colors. Well, my gold ended up not showing up as brightly there on that side. It's very subtle. But yeah, here's our first one. And we're just gonna set that aside to let it dry fully. And now I would like to try on one of these smaller ones, a different technique. I would like to try and attempt some wood grain. I didn't, and I probably should have looked up some techniques for how to do that. But I brought along my paintbrush for that reason. I'm hoping the bristles of it will leave some streakies in there. So I have two different kinds of brown, coffee and brown. And I'm gonna try to maybe throw in some white too, but we're just gonna give this a go. And I forgot little containers to kind of dip the brush into, so we're gonna just apply a little amount to the bristles. I'm gonna dab it off, and gonna just brush. And then let's throw on some of this coffee. That's a darker brown, so let's see what that gives us. Maybe adding some of the alcohol ink, or the alcohol, will help. I'm just gonna keep layering, seeing if we can eventually get a nice wood grain. Let's try maybe some white on here. Well, I am gonna leave this one as it is. It turned out, yeah, pretty wood grainy. Grain-y. Let's do our short and stout one. And I would like to try some maybe galaxy colors. I know it's not very like fall or Halloween like. I guess what's kind of Halloween adjacent is the moon. And if I do kind of purples and blues, then we'll end up with some galaxy kind of colors that we can maybe draw the moon over top. So let's go with that. This is a gorgeous blue. And let's try some of the, we'll try some of that dark purple, just the purple color. Ooh, it's a lot more than I wanted. Oh, it's very subtle. You can't really see a lot of that purple in here. Let's throw, we'll put the silver down. Because this one is so short and stout, and if we're gonna draw the moon, or maybe phases of the moon in the middle, we're gonna put a lot less color on the edges. I'd like to try, I have some purplish red. And I'm only going to put a small amount of it just to see. Wow. There's that end. That is beautiful. And we're gonna try to replicate the same thing on this other side. So here's our sort of galaxy colored one. Beautiful, just beautiful. I am happy we decided to add that purplish red. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And as I mentioned, some of the ones that have the open space in the middle, I would like to draw something seasonal related, maybe I don't know, some leaves or the phases of the moon. We're gonna get creative, but first we have to let our alcohol ink totally dry. The heat gun doesn't do all of the work, so we're gonna let those sit, and once they are fully dry, we're gonna get drawing. Just kidding, you guys. Our next step is not to begin the drawing process. Prior to this, I actually sealed it. I used this Krylon brand Kamar varnish. You need a sealant or varnish that does not contain alcohol, because spraying alcohol on top is just going to rehydrate your inks like the isopropyl alcohol does. And we don't want that. It's just going to ruin your beautiful artwork. So now that my bookmarks have been sealed, they have sat for 24 hours to dry completely. Now we are going to begin the drawing process. I've brought some different metallic paints up with me, as well as just a black permanent marker, and we're just gonna draw some stuff. Okay, you guys, we are outside, which means it is time to take a closer look at how our bookmarks turned out. Okay, here's our first one with our fall colors. I couldn't really draw leaves very well, so we've got a sun. I don't think I like the permanent marker look with the alcohol inks. Here's our wood grain. I was able to paint a deer. However, because I sealed it first, I think it made it a little bit more difficult to paint on. And then here is our last one with our phases of the moon. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed making some bookmarks with me. And if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I have a Facebook page and an Instagram as well if you feel like following along on there. And my PayPal is also linked below if you'd like to contribute to the channel. I'll see you guys all for the next video.